Welcome to the Fuel Only Podcast. My name is Shane Dunnigan here, as always, with the great Joey Glover.
How we doing, man?
And
I'm with you.
And we're in person this time. How about that?
We are together.
No camera this week?
No,
we're not camera ready anyways.
No, I need a cut, no.
Well, Joe, we got a lot to talk about.
Oh, God, do we?
Who's running NASCAR these days, Joe? And can we send them a letter? Because what are they doing?
Yeah, I don't know. And you know what's crazy is I texted you today, and NASCAR literally took Larson off like the championship standings. Like,
so
that's crazy.
Explain why the exemption, all that.
Oh yeah. So basically, you need to have an exemption if you miss a race. So you have to run every single race to make the playoffs or to be able to be eligible for the playoffs. They give it for injuries, if you're sick,
like
something.
Chase
breaks his leg.
Chase would have got
Kyle Busch broke his leg.
Jones broke his back.
Yeah, he missed, so he got the waiver. Bowman broke his back that one time. He got the waiver, and they haven't given Larson the waiver yet. I know it's only Wednesday, but it's baffling when they came out and said it would set a precedent of. He has no injury. There's nothing that is like in the rule books for him to get that waiver. And they've removed him from the standings, which is baffling to me. I sent that to you and, I asked, are you going to watch? Are you going to boycott? And it's like, no, I'm not going to watch. But I get it. I get NASCAR. There's a rule book for a reason. But dude, he's trying to run both. He's there waiting. You guys decided to call the race early. Everybody's ready to go.
Joey, let's go backwards before we go forwards because I have a lot to say.
I was just going to get, I just want to keep going.
Because this weekend, Joe, we were talking and I was going, man, I cannot wait for this. This is it was like the Super Bowl.
The lead up to it is just like
crazy.
Daytona.
It was
just
crazy.
Like Daytona. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's a 3-day weekend. Everybody's hyped.
And we're going to Charlotte, which is a great track.
Ugh.
We're talking on Saturday. Chase freaking Elliott wins the Xfinity race, which was a great race. I mean, I thought Chase was... They played the tire game perfect.
They did everything right.
Chase gets the win. You're pumped.
I was pumped.
We're texting Joey. We're saying tomorrow's going to be epic, right?
Yep.
And
yeah,
I was shocked.
You went to bed and you were like, all right, good night, brother. Big day
tomorrow. Like, I'm going to be up early, have my Wheaties. We get rain in Indy, and I'm going, we're talking and going, there's no way Larson's going to stay. He's got to go to Charlotte because they kept saying,
and the
600 is our priority.
Yeah, and they completely 180.
They did a 180. And they said, we're racing Indy because this is and it's not even a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity because they signed a 2-year deal.
Exactly, and he could have been like, you know what? Hey, I got to get to this. I'll race next year.
Be back next year.
And it's already there. And he's already, after, we won't get into that yet, but his interview after saying next year, but it sucks that the Indy was postponed. But then it was like, obviously, they were talking to the Indy president because he comes out and says, breaking news. Larson says he's staying here. He's racing the Indy 500. Now Allgaier, which, Allgaier was, ready to back up.
And we'll get into that. Allgaier did well.
Yeah, loved Allgaier. But it just sucks. And, let's talk Indy for a second. Larson it was impressive. He definitely looked like a rookie in the first couple restarts. I mean, he was so slow on the first restart. And I'm like, okay, he's just getting the, whatever. Then the next restart, he misses second. He goes, I don't even know how that happened. He goes to shift and it goes from first to third. And all of a sudden, everybody's going by him.
4 or 5 guys are by him.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh no, Larson. But then he worked his way up there. And he was 6th.
He was on the main strategy. And I don't know much about Indy. First full race.
I can't talk
full race that I've watched.
Yeah.
But he was running top. He was running 6th to 10th. Pretty much the whole time.
The whole race.
And he going fast is not the problem for him.
Mm-mm.
It's the nuances of how do I start?
How do I
get
once he gets going?
How do I get into the pits?
Yeah.
Where he got his pit penalty.
Yeah, and that's what he said. He goes, what did he say? He locked up one of them. One of the tires locked up. Yeah. It slid. So it was like it wasn't slowing him down. And it just sucked because it was like after he went, I had turned on pre-race for NASCAR and you had texted me, speeding, it's over. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, oh, shit. And then after that, it was like I kind of didn't pay attention.
No, yeah, I watched most of the end of it. He led a few laps. He did because of the pit situation where he had to pass through, so he stayed out longer. So he did lead a few laps, finished 18th. Respect to Larson, but
it was
ultimately
he would have been fine.
Ultimately, who made that call? Was it Mr. H, or was it Larson that said you're staying? And I think it was Mr. H.
I think it was a collective of Jeff Gordon, and Larson and Mr. H. I think all three of them probably sat in a room and said, all right, dude, this is what's going to happen. They 100% figured they'd get in a waiver. I mean, if Mr. H has to send in a check.
I mean, let's be real. Mr. H and Gibbs run NASCAR.
Exactly.
So
100%.
I don't know if this is like who's the guy, Marcus Smith or whoever the guy they always talk about, the NASCAR guy. I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's like the borderline commissioner or whatever his title is.
Yeah.
Maybe he's trying to flex on Mr. H right now.
Exactly. Like, what are they trying to prove, though? Are they trying to, like, push it so then people are, like, have to think twice about it? But it just doesn't make sense, a guy that is so big to NASCAR. Indy. More people watched Indy this year because Larson was in it.
They said Tirico before the race was going, look at the crowd around the 17
They've never seen
car.
it before.
No.
It was unreal. And it's just like, if they were to do that, do you know how it would be worse for NASCAR to do it fan-wise, TV-wise, over drivers thinking that they can do it again? It would be worse because you're literally no Kyle Larson in the playoffs. I mean, that doesn't even, I don't know. That he's won twice this year.
Would be,
I don't know. I'm trying to like compare it to something.
It would be, let me think about it.
Like
it would be like if you had a golfer, right? Say Scotty Scheffler.
Right?
Scheffler, he's late to his tee time. So he no longer can make the
and that's not even like, that's hard to even compare that because it's like I can't even think of like a guy trying to run both races. He
bringing the sport tons of good pub.
And then him flying over, and he's there at NASCAR with his helmet on waiting, and
rushing
you guys call
over.
it.
Rushing over.
Like,
well, now let's get into that. Okay, so that's the build-up. So Indy happens. Larson does a 30-second interview, gets on the jet. Woohoo. I mean, we're texting going, this is going to be great because we're watching the race.
Get him some IVs.
And at first, I was worried that Allgaier wouldn't be able to stay on the lead lap.
Oh, my God. He turned it around once he figured the car out, once it got dialed in.
And it's just funny because, Cliff Daniels is coaching him, like, little less break into the corner.
Yeah, he's apologizing.
He's like, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I don't know what I'm doing. He was, like, leading laps in the Xfinity race. It's not like he doesn't know how to drive.
No, yeah. And they had said, he had never driven. And I know in pre-race they'd said, first time in this car, just getting out there. And we did find
that he may have raced. Bristol. I think he raced Bristol Dirt, which isn't exactly.
It's not the same.
No.
So either way, he did a hell of a job to finish 13th.
So once he went a lap down, I was a little worried. And then something happened. Something clicked with his car. And he started driving because they said, dude, you're running faster than the leaders.
Yeah, he was.
And I was like, wow, Allgaier, respect. And he goes,
just
and what
keep
did
it alive.
What did he tell the team? He's like, I can't wait for. He's like, I can't slice and dice like the rest of these guys. But he's like, when Larson gets here,
when Larson gets in, he's gonna go straight to the front.
And so we're texting. I'm pumped, right?
And you see the chopper coming in.
The chopper's coming in. I'm going, sweet. All Larson needs is a weather delay because I was thinking it would be really hard to change a driver on a yellow because you'd lose a lap.
And then under red,
you can change. You can go to the back. And I'm thinking, no problem. If this car
50 laps,
if this car's souped up the way I think it is, he's going to drive right through the field.
Reddick, what did Reddick do? Reddick 100 laps. He went from a lap down
to
or he was 10. He was on the lead lap, literally going to get passed, and he went to top 10 within 100 laps. Larson had 150.
Could have won the race. Could have won the race. So if you weren't watching NASCAR, it's like. And this is kind of what pisses me off is everything's so East Coast oriented. I know the race is on the East Coast, but does NASCAR not realize they have West Coast fans? It was 9:00 at night, and I'm sitting there going, "Cool."
And it's Memorial Day.
It's Memorial Day. I'm going, "Cool." Like, when's this puppy coming back? And they have the dryers out. I'm following Bob Pockris, on Twitter. He's going, pit road's dry. They're working on the track.
Yeah, no, and then back to the. You're on the East Coast. Every NASCAR fan that is watching is drinking. They're up. like, know your audience. It's not. It's these white collar. Of course there are. But it's not these white collar folk that are like, oh, you know what? I got to be to bed by 10 o'clock, and I got to get my my beauty rest. It's like, no, there's people partying, throwing parties right now in Memorial Day to watch this race,
and not to mention all the people at the track
in
Charlotte who waited it out through a rain delay because obviously NASCAR has the rule, if the race is more than half over and something happens, then it's official. So
I'm going to be honest, I didn't think they were going to call it.
No, we were texting. I was for sure like, it's 9 o'clock. Okay, 10 o'clock the race restarts. Fine by me.
I had poured another drink and I'm like, this is great.
Yeah,
no work tomorrow
because we're gonna get to see the
Larson, the 5 car. Let's see what happens.
So
we're mad. I mean,
so Mike Joy comes on, and he's standing there with Boyer and Harvick, and he goes, Well, I guess we're going to have to... This race has been called. Christopher Bell is now the winner. And the race wouldn't have started till well after 1 a.m., which means it wouldn't have finished till 3 in the morning. Yeah. And I'm going, are these guys getting paid by the hour? Are these not salaried employees? What are you paying them overtime? They're already there. The track's drying. Well, humidity is really high.
Yeah, it's like, what?
So what?
And then they post an hour after, they post pictures, track dry, racing conditions an hour later, and it's 1 o'clock. It's like...
Bone dry.
Oh, my God. And, Denny Hamlin, go ahead.
So,
we were just talking about
so Denny has, Denny, the voice of reason, Hamlin.
He really is.
He goes, he said it's midnight at the track, and we're all getting ready. All the drivers knew that we're going to be called to our cars within 15 minutes.
The only person that wasn't ready was Christopher Bell.
Christopher Bell said he was taking a nap.
He was sleeping, dead asleep. They showed his hauler. They showed it on Race Hub last night. He was asleep. They had to wake him up to tell him that he won.
He's like, yeah, I was just getting a nap in, and he's like, I was expecting to get to drive again.
Yeah.
And they call the freaking race, Joe. Who is running this sport, and what is wrong with them?
I mean, it's such a letdown that, you're right. I mean, no. You're wrong. And this goes with anything in life. You're wrong when 99% are against you.
Yes.
There's always going to be 50-50 with some things, or 60-40. But when everybody's against it, it's the wrong thing. And it's just such the wrong thing.
Every comment on every NASCAR post, if you just read the comments.
I mean, it's Wednesday.
NASCAR blew it.
Yes.
What are they thinking? I would have stayed up all night for this race.
Wednesday, yeah.
Joey, worst case scenario.
The next day.
You say, everybody back to the track at 8, 9 in the morning.
Yeah.
We'll finish this thing in an hour and a half.
Yeah, and the fans would have been fine with that, rather than
they all would have
going
showed
home.
back up. They probably would have partied all night, Joe.
Exactly. And it's been 3 days since the race, and I'm still, like today, I literally, I saw something, and I go, I can't believe it was called. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
And it's not like they're going back to the track to run the Roval, which I'm not crazy about. But you took a crown jewel race, a 600-mile race, 600, the Coca-Cola 600,
and you
gave us 300 laps.
No, 300 miles.
300 miles, pardon me.
Yes, 300 miles.
You gave us 300 miles. And I feel like I got something stolen from me, Joe. And I feel worse. I'm a Kyle Larson fan, and I'll fanboy here. I feel robbed.
No.
And I feel really bad for him. Because if you saw his Instagram post the next day, he goes, this was supposed to be the best racing day of my life. And I screwed up at Indy, which happens, right?
Yeah.
But at the least...
It got delayed. It's not his fault.
But he rushed over, took the jet, flew through a storm, got there.
Flying through the storm is a big thing that we're like...
Kind of sneezed at. Like,
that's not
helicopters.
A safe thing.
Helicopters are not safe.
I mean, look at how many. I know this isn't. We're not going to get all morbid, but how many drivers have died? Helicopter crashes, leaving racetracks, getting in there with storms.
Just famous people.
Kobe
in general.
Bryant.
Yeah.
I mean, you just think about all these helicopter crashes, even plane crashes. Ricky Hendrick, them doing that, it's not easy, and for them to just call it is just. And Larson, he literally. I mean, it was like watching. Who's like come back, like gotten hurt and come back, and this dude ran. They literally showed him, took the golf cart, he ran in, throws off puts his helmet, his fire protectant on, puts the helmet on, gets it all going, gets all this, earplug, and sitting there waiting. And then could you imagine what he was feeling when they're like, it's called? And he's just like, now what? Sucked at the Indy. He didn't suck. He failed. So he's going to be mad at himself, no matter what.
And he ran well, but the pit road thing is
was his fault. So he's not going to let it go. He's going to be thinking about all the way up until next year. like slowing down for that. And we'll get into next year, but I'm not done talking about how pathetic it was that like he was sitting there. McDaniels, they're all juiced, all Kyle Larson's fans. I mean, we're talking hundreds of thousands of people that 50, 100,000 that were there. Like they all like Larson. I'm a Chase fan, but I'm a Larson. I mean, Larson's Larson. That's if you don't like the guy, you just don't like him because you like someone that he's going against.
Sure,
but like, do you think he just like took the helmet off and just like moseyed home and like?
Oh, I mean, could you imagine how quiet the car ride was?
Like,
and I think somebody got an interview with him. He's like, obviously, I'm very disappointed. Like, I don't even know. Like, I almost can't even believe. It's like to kill a storyline that had been building for 2 weeks of Larson's going to run the double, and then Larson's going to run an abbreviated double because they had to start the race at both times,
and then
to go nothing,
just Indy. Yeah, it's
so I don't know if it was Fox. I don't know if it was NASCAR.
Everybody's blaming Fox because everybody's happy that race is going to be on Amazon next year. They're saying so, no commercials, or you'll get your little quick ads, but we're going to have more racing. So I guess people are happy about that, but it just, I don't know. I usually listen to Denny all the way through when I'm riding the bike, and I listen to Corey LaJoy now. I enjoy listening to Corey LaJoy. Corey LaJoy is just, he's the type of guy that,
he's a cool guy.
Cool guy. Like straight, I'm not saying he's like a frat boy or anything, but he's the type of guy, he's got the, that nice hair, and he likes to drink, and he's the guy that you want to hang out with. I don't see myself hanging out with like an Austin Hill. I don't know. He probably loves to drink too, but dude, I want to listen to these guys. I just didn't even want to. I don't even think we even talked about anything this week.
Joe, it's like when the Niners lost the Super Bowl. I couldn't listen to sports talk radio for at least 2 weeks.
There was nothing. No way we were going to do it.
I just couldn't.
Yes, 100%. And it's LeBron James when the Lakers won the championship. I wasn't turning on ESPN. I wasn't turning on whatever. I don't want to see it. And we didn't talk about NASCAR at all this week.
And I feel like
we met up today.
Not just you, but other friends that I have, like Rob, who watch NASCAR, they couldn't believe it.
No. I mean, everybody I talked to was like,
you just destroyed a great storyline. So
and it's only once a year. It's not like you can be like, yeah, it's all right, we'll be back. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't make sense.
And then, like we said at the beginning, the icing of the cake of, okay, now that you've ruined a great opportunity for a great story, now you're going to go and stick your foot in Larson's ass and go, hey, I know you were number one in points going into this race, but now you're not even on the board anymore.
Yeah,
we're pulling you off the board.
I check it. I check it every single day. I check to see if there's any changes or whatnot. And I'm looking and I'm like, Kyle Larson is not. So I searched on it and people are tweeting about it. Like Kyle Larson taken off of there. That's not a coincidence.
No,
they're
trying to send a message.
Someone is on there that runs NASCAR.com. He doesn't go in there himself and be like, oh, Kyle Larson missed. Let me just remove him.
And not even like Kyle Larson pending exemption. Like you could even put
nothing.
Pending.
Just at the bottom, like Kyle Larson first. Well, I don't know if he's still first now.
Yeah, but needs exemption. I think he's second now.
Yeah.
Needs exemption to make playoffs.
Yeah, Denny Hamlin gained a lot of points.
And Truex gained. Yeah, they all gained like 30 points.
Chase gained a lot. I think, he ran a good race. I think he finished 7th or something.
But so that Larson post on Instagram when he was down in the dumps, at the bottom he puts, focused now more than ever on bringing my team a second championship.
Oh yeah, there's a chip, and he doesn't need a chip because
but he's got one now.
Yeah, and it's to prove NASCAR. Could you imagine? Some guy hypothetically said, if he doesn't get the waiver, the last what?
Could you imagine
10
him winning?
races?
Could you imagine
every
him winning
playoff race?
Winning every race.
They said, what if he just wins every playoff race? Just because, like, they're gonna try and whatever, but just to prove something.
Because usually when you get in the playoffs, you want to win one race per round,
and then
you want to score well. Score well.
Imagine
him like no stage points. I'm going for the win
every single time, and it's just like I just can't imagine it. You would alienate a huge part of your base. It just doesn't make sense.
A top 2 driver in the sport.
Like it takes away from everything. Like we're going to Sonoma, not next week or not this weekend.
Next weekend.
If Larson they said no exemption, what are we watching for?
Well,
what is a Larson fan watching for?
Before we recorded, we were talking about what the race was like without him.
It was different.
It wasn't boring. It was different.
We never even saw the 5 car for maybe a couple seconds when they just checked in with him.
On Allgaier, yeah.
And they were showing his in cam because they were like, oh look, it's not Larson. But it's
not the same without. And they asked Truex in the pre-race. They go, Kyle Larson, he won't be showing up because Truex had a really good car. He was like actually happy for once.
Mm-hmm.
and they said Kyle Larson won't be showing up till at least halfway through the race, and Truex goes, well, it's always nice to get one of the players out of there. You know, like, he's like, I'm happy that he's not here.
No, and Denny, back of their minds, Chase Elliott being top at Hendrick, with him gone, he's like, oh, okay, yeah. Byron's the fastest. Has been the fastest, I think.
Byron's always fast.
Over Larson for now. Has been the fastest qualifying and everything. And Chase is like, all right, cool. I can go out there.
He just got a win yesterday, too.
Yeah, and he just got the win. I don't have to beat the 5 car. And it was different. No Larson. It was like, it felt like it was just a blank race. Like, it was like, it didn't count.
We back to 2021?
Yeah, it was weird. It was, you feel like...
Or no, he won in 21. Yeah.
2020.
2020.
When Chase won the championship. So that's what I'm saying. Chase is like, all
Chase
right.
is like, I'm back, baby.
I'm back. And it's just, there's certain things that you didn't get to see. Hamill was pissed. He said, we had just got our car dialed in. I'm ready. We're ready. Let's get back. And he said it. We were ready. And,
because on those long races, you spend the first half of the race staying on the lead lap, working on your car. Getting your car
ready,
right.
Getting exactly perfect. And that's what those long races, the cars that get it out and they know what they're doing they're at the front at the end.
Yep.
And it just sucks. I mean, I don't even know where we're going with this because
I just want to. I feel like this is like a therapy session. I feel like I'm just venting.
Yeah, we just have to vent, But I don't know. It is what it is. They robbed a lot of people. I feel bad for the people that were there. I mean, people spent good money to be there. I mean, we just talked about camping. If we were to bring the trailer up to Sonoma, and wasn't it like $500, $600 for
like some of the cheaper stuff
to camp?
Yeah.
Like, did you see how badass all the camping was in there? Like, that's the Great America Race. Like, I mean, it's Daytona.
Yeah, but
would they have done this at Daytona? No.
They would have ran it the next day.
Had to have. You can't not finish the Daytona 500 and call it. I get Daytona during.
Well, didn't they call one for Bubba?
Yeah, but that was in the spring.
Race? Okay. Yeah.
That's
the
for summer race.
That's the 400, right? Yeah.
In July or whatever it is. I don't know. Summer race.
At the end of the year.
So you wouldn't have. There's no way you're going to call the Daytona 500, especially if you have an hour. Like, it was clear in an hour. You're not going to do it. What's so different about this race? It's the same as the Daytona 500, except it's the Monday after the Daytona. Is that Veterans Day? Is it a day? Is it a holiday?
Not sure.
I don't know. It is because NASCAR or NFL's talking about going to that day, and then there's a holiday the day after, which would, I don't know what NASCAR does, but anyways,
President's Day maybe.
I've said my 3 cents. I definitely used up my 2 cents, but I don't know. What are we missing?
Joey, hopefully this is a learning experience for NASCAR. Hopefully they can understand what the fans are saying and that they'll actually acknowledge it. And the drivers.
That's what it's
not
for.
Not just the fans. And the drivers.
But if there is no fans, there's no NASCAR.
Correct.
So how are you going to do that? See, I'm going to start going off again. How do you do that to your fans that had paid to get that ticket, flew there, camped there?
So do we need a rule amendment that the race needs to be 3/4 complete? I don't know.
Maybe on the big ones.
I think it's just in general.
Yeah.
What are we doing with the half?
Something needs to change.
What are we doing with the half a race?
Something needs to change. There's no baseball. They don't just call a game after 21 innings in baseball. They play till 4 a.m. There's been multiple games in the 20-something innings, and I've watched them.
Yeah.
You can't just...
What is it? What do you call it?
Soccer? 0-0. We're just going to call it a tie. It's not. It's an exciting thing. No offense to soccer fans out there. It's just... That doesn't happen.
So let's peel back a different onion here. Not to change.
The onion's gone.
The onion's gone. Yeah, there's no more layers left.
No.
So to peel back this onion, what do you feel like if you're Christopher Bell?
I feel like it was a shit win. He celebrated.
Is a win a win?
It's a win. It goes in the record books as a win.
Do you know what the purse was for that race, by the way?
Yeah, we talked about it, like $9 million.
$9.5 million. Joe Gibbs going, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm happy, but you earned it. You were up front at the end. You worked your ass off to get there because Brad was coming too. Brad was fast.
I saw somebody in the comments say NASCAR didn't want Brad to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, but
Brad ran a good race.
But don't you just feel like, ugh, man?
No, I
won that way.
I feel gross.
Bubba thinks about it all the time. Bubba thinks about. He makes fun of. He talks like when he comments to people if they're saying something about his win. Oh, my Mickey Mouse win at Daytona. So it's still in his
He got to
mind.
win at Kansas too, right?
He did win at Kansas, but they still bring up, your Daytona,
your rain out,
because they called it, and he was all happy celebrating. It's like, how do you celebrate the same? You don't. The emotion's gone. You're already out of the car. You're not.
But what I will say though is, Bell did race a good.
He did.
He raced a good first half of the race.
I thought it was going to be Bell or
Byron. Byron was up there.
Byron was fast. At first, yes, you're right. In the first 120 laps, I thought it was for sure either going to be Byron or Bell. And then the freaking 6 car, they figured something out.
RFK.
Yeah, because they figured out
coming.
Something.
They're coming.
I don't know. So you have to give him credit. He was the one standing at the end. Yes, there was a reason.
Back to my comment from last week. It was funny because we were talking about last week what did we get wrong, and I said I thought Christopher Bell was going to have a great year. Boom, he wins a race.
He wins a race.
It's just funny. So let's transition to.
Yeah, we got it.
We're 20. Yeah, we're almost 30 minutes in.
We've vented for 28 minutes, 26 minutes, whatever the hell.
Yeah,
it is.
26 minutes. Okay.
We're heading to
last night, Joe. I watched back the.
Yes, that's where we're heading.
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
I watched back the Illinois 300, and it's funny that they'll do a short race. This is the shortest race of the year, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, shortest race on the agenda.
Yes.
So
it's always at least a 4. Well,
so it's 250 laps.
Yes, it just depends on, because it depends on the track. Because I know Sonoma the next week is a 250, 350. What is that?
But it's 3.5 mile track. I don't know.
Exactly. So we'd have to do the math, but definitely the shortest.
So Illinois 300, they've ran there twice.
Yes.
2022 and 2023.
Yeah.
2022 winner Joey Logano.
Logano and then Busch.
And I think Logano was because this track is interesting, Joe. It's 1.25 miles
shaped differently
with really long straightaways.
Yeah.
And so it almost races like a road course on the turns because one turn is super tight and the other turn's wider.
Yes. It's
but
really
the
weird.
The straightaways they get up to 160, 170 miles an hour.
Do they?
Yeah.
Oh crap! Because I was watching. I rewatched one of them, and average speed on one of them was
like 120 something.
I forget.
So it's got to be it can't be the short track package. So it's got to be the intermediate package.
Yeah,
which in my mind, all the intermediate cars we usually think of would be the Reddicks, the Hamlins, the Larsons, the Byrons, the Chase. All the 1.5 guys. Chastain. But when you watch the race back, it's some different characters. I think Ford is alive this week.
Ford's alive.
Ford's alive.
RFK for sure. Logano.
And Logano, and then in 2023 we talked about Kyle Busch won. So Kyle Busch won a race there last year, and I was watching him run because I watched the race back, and man, he looks so good. And you look at him now, he looks terrible. Yeah, and last year he won 3 races.
Within the first 10, right?
His wife. Have you even seen his wife at the race? I don't even think she goes.
Samantha
she doesn't even go anymore.
Or they just don't show him enough, or he's not up front enough.
She was there last year sweating, and the kids. He's hugging his son. How about that?
Yeah, Yeah, maybe maybe since his kids now, or his kid is bigger into racing, maybe they have
busy. Yeah.
They're there, and he flies in on. I don't know.
So last year, just some notes from the race. Larson was way in the back. Hendrick was bad. Larson got up to the top 2, and there was just, at the end of the race, yellow after yellow. There were so many yellows last year. It allowed Denny to get up there, Logano to get back up there. Kyle Busch ended up winning, and I wasn't super impressed with the race. I think it was fine. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be a different energy this week because everybody feels shortchanged. What do you think?
It's hard to even say. I think the only team that
What do you think the vibe's going to be like?
I think the only team that shows up with whatever is Christopher Bell. They're like, all right, we're good. Everybody else is like...
Christopher Bell's like, week off.
It's almost like, it's not like a hangover. It's like
you got to the party and then they canceled the party.
Yeah. Like it's got to be like Morgan Wallen when his throat went out, but everybody showed up and then he was like, I can't sing tonight. And all those people went to work the next day like, or went to home like, and now they're coming here and they're like, all right, let's get ready to race.
I know too. Just from Denny's comments, Denny's gonna bring it this week.
Yes, 100%.
And the 5 car. A lot of sleepless nights this week, Joe.
Yep. No, 100%. And that's. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we got to see come practice time and qualifying. I just don't know. I don't even know what to. It's hard for me to sit here and even be excited about it because I'm mad at NASCAR. I'm mad at someone. I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
Who are we mad at?
Fox or NASCAR, one of the two.
Yeah,
Maybe both.
And
it's last Fox race of the year, too. Oh, no, Sonoma's the last one. I think Sonoma's the last Fox race of the year. I think I looked at the schedule.
Great, I'm glad we'll be there because we'll be missing all the angles. But, yeah, I honestly don't even know. And I think maybe I don't know is because I haven't really thought about it. Because, like, it's weird. We usually talk NASCAR Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, like getting ready for this, before we go to record. We like
listening to some podcasts, seeing what
I texted you last night.
What Larry's got to say.
Shane was busy last night. Apparently, I texted him. It was funny. We didn't get into Stewart-Haas shutting down.
Oh, we can talk about that.
Down.
Let's talk about because we just dabbled in the Illinois 300. Let's do a little Stewart-Haas, and then we'll get to our picks.
Yes. But no, I just wanted to say how we haven't been into NASCAR. That's where I'm going with it. Is I texted you last night like, wow, Stewart-Haas going away. 3 charters that are being, that have already been,
3 of
said
4.
for.
So there's 4 cars in Stewart-Haas.
Yes. So
Barry is one of them.
Briscoe, Gragson.
Yeah, the 10. And what's the last one?
No, I think the 4th one might be.
Should I look it up?
Yeah, look it up. And then they have Xfinity. Because Cole Custer drives the 00 for Stewart-Haas in Xfinity. Yes. But so where I was going with this is I texted Shane that last night, trying to kind of get into it. I watched Race Hub. I was trying to get back into it, being pissed off. And Shane, completely just no response. So Shane's not, he's not feeling it either.
I needed a night off, Joe.
Yeah, he needed a night off. That's so like when we talk about this upcoming race and we talk about things, this is a weird pod. I'm gonna just be honest. It's a weird pod because I'm just not into it. And if there's no energy on this pod or if it, it's different, we're upset. I don't know. Do you have?
So the 4 cars are Josh Berry, Briscoe, Gragson, and Preece.
Yes.
So I could see Josh Berry being acquired by somebody.
Berry and Gragson for sure.
Gragson's had a good year.
Those 2.
Briscoe has had good runs in the past, but this year he's kind of been a ghost, except for Atlanta when he was driving like a maniac.
Yeah, I just don't.
And Ryan Preece is like a short tracker that never really wins.
Yeah, I feel bad for those 2
Although,
guys.
watch Ryan Preece going to win
I
this
know,
week.
right?
I feel bad for those guys because with this, usually it takes a lot for a driver to come up. Someone has to retire. Someone has to be really bad. You're breaking up teams. Someone's acquiring this. You're not obligated to go with that car. And there's some damn good drivers in the lower levels. And I mean, it seems like Heim's already going
2311 to run the 50.
So that's 1 car. So now one of those persons is knocked out. Someone has to sign him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're bringing someone up.
Only so many seats at the table.
So yeah. So 4 people are losing their ride. One's being brought up. Heim for sure. He's ready. I don't know. Is he going to go from trucks to? I don't know. You never know.
He's pretty good.
You have some damn good guys in Xfinity to where if you're starting a new team, why not start fresh? Why bring over someone that has shown he's not doing great? I mean, Briscoe, I think he's been there 7 years, I think he said.
How many wins do you have?
I don't know. Maybe
1 or 2?
I don't know.
And then I was watching a video of Harvick. When Harvick went to Stewart-Haas, they were a brand new team.
09.
And he said, we built a brand new team and we built a culture. And he's like, I'm just shocked to see them just disbanding. Just done.
I think that in their statement they said it's such a hard day-to-day job.
365
from every person, from the person answering the phones to the person that drives the car. Like just what it is.
Because your competition is...
And Stewart's starting a family. He's racing freaking drag racing now. So it's like... And I think Gene Haas, I don't know. I mean, he's got to be older. I don't know.
Seems like it.
So, do you not have faith? And let's go to this part. Hendrick has already said, Joe Gibbs has already said, there's not money being really made. Hendrick doesn't...
And they win.
And
they win.
So like it's not like you're
Joe
making
Gibbs
money.
Just got $9 million from NASCAR,
and your overhead is 8.5. So
it's like
Joe Gibbs putting 50, $500,000 in his pocket for a whole. It's hard. So maybe they're like, dude, we're not making any money, and it's a lot that we're having to do. And they are making money, so they're probably having to pay taxes, and they're trying. So I guess it's just not there anymore. And Tony Stewart's has all this going on. So I think the love isn't there as much anymore. You don't see him at the track. You don't see him involved. Harvick called him out by saying...
And he called a few races last year,
Exactly. So...
I heard, when I was looking up the cost to run these teams, and I sent you some of the numbers, it was staggering. They said if Gibbs and Hendrick wanted to combine, they could have a successful space program.
Yes.
With the money they spend to run 4 cars each.
It's unreal. And they do it for the love. I mean,
they want to win.
Jeff Gordon
they want to win.
Took over, running Hendrick, and if he made $100,000 for the year, he's got money, and he'd still be happy.
He probably, if you just gave him a company credit card and said, hey, all of your expenses.
Yeah, just go where you want. He's got his own thing. Your bills are paid, whatever. We'll pay. Like, he would do it, and maybe there's not that at Stewart-Haas. Maybe, I don't know.
I was kind of wondering if Harvick would, because I looked up Harvick's net worth.
Yeah.
He's worth like 90 or 100 million.
Lots, but it's a lot. It's
and
a
that's
lot
when
to
Keselowski was like, man.
And Keselowski, RFK,
Keselowski was like, we'd love to have another car, but it's $25 to $30 million to buy one.
And on the 40 on the upper, if you want to, do what Hendrick and Joe Gibbs do, so it's, I feel bad for it. It sucks. No Stewart-Haas. I mean, shit, they won a couple championships. They won like 69 races, I think they said, since 2009. So it's definitely going to be different.
They're not Penske, but they're a 4th tier team.
Yeah,
probably.
Oh, definitely. NASCAR. Yeah, there's 2.
2311 would now be.
There's
like,
2 main.
Taking
there's Hendrick and Joe Gibbs. That's it. And then there's
Penske and
below.
2311. Yeah.
So and 2311 gets another one. Front row, which is crazy. Front row getting another one.
Trackhouse probably needs. They run a 3rd car sometimes.
Yeah.
Like
so now they'll
run
charter.
for Shane, and I don't know if Shane will get a car next year.
I don't know if he's ready. I don't know.
He's run all the Xfinity races this year.
He has, and he gets eaten up. It's crazy to me.
But he's such a road course.
Oh yeah,
monster.
When we go to the road course, yeah.
You gotta watch
when we
him.
go there,
watch him go win in Chicago again this year.
And you're not going to watch the Saturday Xfinity race
this week?
Yeah. Or no, at Sonoma.
No, I have to go.
I wasn't sure.
I'm going to a Bill Burr show.
Oh man,
for full disclosure.
So because SVG, it might be a really good race.
It probably will.
There's going to be like 5 Cup guys in that.
I'll be at qualifying.
What was it? Larson, Gibbs, SVG. Remember last year?
Oh yeah.
What?
Gibbs.
Who else?
Yeah, Gibbs, SVG, Chastain.
Chastain might have been in it, but I remember SVG got bumped. Larson came around and to get all those guys and you're not going to be watching it. Like I'm kind of disappointed. But I know you double booked.
I double booked myself, which I've been known to do.
Yeah, you need an assistant.
I do. I need something. All right, let's do our picks, Joe.
Let's do our picks.
We're almost at 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I feel better. Did you feel a little better? Or are you just more mad than you were before?
I think it just brings up more stuff again.
Yeah, you just ripped open the scab.
Yeah.
The scab was starting to heal, Joe.
Yeah, so we got the picks here.
I know who I'm going to pick. I'm going to take a very chalky pick here, Joe.
I haven't even thought about it. So I'm just going to run down the favorites right now. And this is...
DraftKings?
BetMGM.
BetMGM.
Yeah.
Shout out BetMGM.
DraftKings is not up right now. I don't know. Denny Hamlin's the favorite. No
What's
surprise.
What's his number?
Plus 500. 5 to 1.
Okay.
6.5 to 1 for Larson. So it's expected for those two to be the favorites.
They were both up there last year.
Then you got Martin Truex, which is always good on the shorter tracks.
And still hasn't won in a very long time.
No. William Byron. And to round out Ryan Blaney. Those are the top 5.
Okay, Joey. I'm going to go with Joey Logano. And he won there 2 years ago and finished top 5 last year. This is the kind of track where, and they were talking about it when I was watching yesterday, and shout out to our name, Fuel Only. This is the kind of track where you can live on right side tires.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you can take no tires.
Yeah.
And so he's the type of driver that if he qualifies well and gets up front, he can be a pain in the ass. What's his number?
13 to 1.
13 to 1, Joey Logano. Book it.
I was thinking about that, but we had talked before we started to record. Before we started recording, we had talked about Joey Logano, so I was leaning him. Oh man. So 13 to 1, that's such good value, especially winning the All-Star race. Who tested the tires on here? I want one of those guys.
I have no idea. Do they do a tire test for this place?
I don't know, but after running 800 laps at one track, give me. Man, this is tough. Because am I still on probation?
Yeah, until you get a win. You can't take them.
Man, because if there's any race that Kyle Larson's going to win, it's this one. God, Ty Gibbs, he fell off. I was wrong about him. Let's go Tyler Reddick. 13-1.
I don't hate it.
It's going to race. The only other one I was going to go with, I wanted some value. 13-1, Tyler Reddick, and he was so fast last week. So maybe they have something figured out. And then, or I was going to go Ross Chastain, 16-1. That's a lot of value.
Save Ross for next week because we're going to Sonoma. And
I know.
Him,
McDowell.
No, him, Barry, and Truex did the tire test.
Where?
At
Sonoma. Yes, you're right.
For next week.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I need to get a win. So let's go Tyler Reddick, 13-1. So we both took some longer shots, not huge. I would have taken Larson 6.5-1.
You're not there yet, though. You gotta stay away.
But
from
I
him.
can't. And everybody that at pit crashes or has issues on pit road or just something. So
you need a win, Joe.
All right. Well, it's interesting. This is interesting, real quick.
Yep.
Bubba's been really, really fast. And his odds are always in the teens as of late on here, and it could be
He was 30-1 last week.
40-1.
He's just not a short tracker, but he has been good at short tracks this year.
He's had the speed.
Not a bad long shot.
Excuse me, 40-1. I mean, he doesn't have what it takes at the end. He doesn't have experience yet. He gets overzealous, I think.
Tries to wreck people.
Tries to be too cute. Almost racing himself more than anybody else. So
he needs a therapist,
and that's what I think. So, all right, well, Tyler Reddick and Joey Logano. I would have went Joey Logano because what you talked about when we talked about before. But Tyler Reddick, he was fast. He would have won, if he wouldn't have started.
I wouldn't be surprised if the 11 of the 5 is drinking champagne.
Exactly, but you can't make any money there unless you're putting $100,000 on it. So
maybe Byron. What about Byron?
I know. I looked at Byron.
What's he?
He was 8-1.
That's not a bad number for him.
But I took Byron last time, not last week, but the week before, and he broke a toe link and he was done. So it was just like, I'm done. He was 17 laps down. It's like, all right, come on. All right. Well,
Joey, fun to do this in person.
It was fun to do it in person, and I don't know. I think I might have a cocktail. I had a long day of work, so. What
do we always say, Joe?
I know. I was gonna say, which one? Please responsibly, or no, Charlotte was horrible.
Charlotte was horrible. We're on to Illinois.
Thankfully. Oh my gosh. And then. Yeah, I was thinking we were in Sonoma. I just want to get to Sonoma, and I was gonna say
we're almost there.
Well, we're gonna post when we're up there, and I'm like, wait, we got one more week. But we could, we'll be on. Maybe
pay attention if you're listening.
We got an Airbnb
at Fuel Only podcast.
It's $10,000 a night to stay up in Sonoma wine country, so we should have Wi-Fi up there.
Yeah, we were gonna get this Airbnb, but then Jeff Gordon took it. So
yeah. All right, guys. Please drink responsibly.
God bless America. Have a great week.